coverage continues in North Platte with UNL Extension Western Nebraska crop specialist Bob Klein. Bob says precipitation in North Platte is 46% of normal since April 1st. But despite the lack of moisture, the corn crop in that area is holding up well.
The corn crop so far in most areas still looks pretty good, but it's running out of water. There is some areas, some irrigated areas and so forth where they haven't been able to get water on, planted a high population with no residue. It's running out of water early. But in general, the irrigated corn crop looks pretty good. And the dry land is still pretty good in most situations here, but a lot of it's going to need some soil water or precip before long.
What's helping the corn right now get along? You mentioned residue, and residue's making a big dent.
Yeah, the biggest thing is crop residue to help these dryland crops. Some research that we did here at North Platte a few years ago showed that in irrigated corn on bare soil, 35%, over a third of the crop water use was in evaporation. With good crop residue from like wheat stubble, we can reduce that all the way down to 15%, or that's a 20% saving in crop water use.
The corn that's not doing well in this part of the state, or any part of the state for that matter, and if farmers are thinking about chopping it, what do you recommend? What are some things to keep in mind?
Yeah, one of the things is I always tell our people out here that crop residue is so important in trapping snow, reducing wind velocities and so forth, and helping us collect moisture for the next crop. Out in this area, the normal practice would be after corn is to fallow it the next year, and we prefer doing it with chemicals instead of tillage, and then plant wheat the next fall. Well, if you're trying to fallow without crop residues, the soil is really subject to wind erosion and water erosion. So we don't recommend that you cut it for silage. If you positively have to cut it for silage, leave 8 rows every so often to reduce those wind velocities, trap snow, and help out. But in general, that will be awful costly silage and so forth, and you'll be ahead just waiting and harvesting any grain if there's any grain out there, and leaving the crop residue because it's so valuable to you.
And obviously, with forage prices the way they are going into winter, it could be a very tough decision for those producers.
It could be, and like I say, if you positively have to, leave some out there to trap some snow and so forth.